Shalom, and welcome to the Parasha pod. I'm Rav Mordechai Rosenberg, here with Rav Menachem Leibtag, and we are talking Torah together.
Parasha Vayishlach.
Parasha Vayishlach. Whatever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, it's time to learn. So I want to start with a question that only occurred to me this year. It's a bit of a personal one for me. Ya'akov starts Parashat Vayishlach, finding out that he's heading back home, but heading back to Israel from being at Lavan's house, and he's got Eisav coming towards him, and he's afraid. And he turns to Hashem, and he says in chapter 32, verse 10, he says, "You were the one who told me to come home, and now my life is in danger. My whole family's life's in danger. This isn't turning out as good as I thought. You know, all I'm trying to do is trying to come home like you told me, and save me. You should save me because I'm just doing what you told me to do." I feel a bit like I recently returned to Israel after living in Chutz La'aretz for a long time, and it's not a walk in the park sometimes. And I think a lot of Olim feel that, and I think a lot of Olim could relate to what Ya'akov is saying here. It's like, I'm just doing what you told me to do. You said to me, go home to your land, to your birthplace, and it'll be good for you. And it's not turning out so well. I mean, maybe it'll be okay for many people. Please God, it'll be okay for many people who come back to Israel. But for Yaakov, yes, it'll eventually turn out okay with Eisav, but he's got the Dinah story coming up. He's got the Yosef story coming up. It's going to be a rough ride for poor old Yaakov. So,
sounds like Jewish history to me.
What do you have to say about this? I mean, is Yaakov's complaint fair enough? I
don't think he's complaining. He's praying, isn't he? But
yeah, he's praying.
But he begins with, maybe I don't deserve anything. Katonti mikol hachasadim mikol hamet. Says Yaakov has every reason to think he hasn't been doing the right thing, because what happened? He hasn't been Mr. Honest. He hasn't been Mr. Honest in the whole thing. This whole business deal with Lavan, he's doing the right thing or the wrong thing. He might be a bit insecure about that.
Okay.
Maybe the way he treated his wives isn't fair. Maybe the way he talked to Rachel. He has a lot of reasons to think maybe what he did to Eisav was wrong in the first place.
Right.
Even though God gave him all these promises, doesn't mean you deserve everything.
Right.
And therefore, Yaakov is worried. Maybe things are bad. Maybe he doesn't deserve God's protection.
Yeah.
And therefore, he has to explain to God, listen, I'm trying my best. I want to do good. I'm following your orders. And maybe I've done something wrong. Maybe I don't deserve your protection, but help me anyhow. I think by Katonti, there's a big machloket whether Katonti is a revia or is a high note or a low note.
Interesting.
No. So it's like is it going down Katonti? Down or Katonti? There's machloket in Tamei Mikra. But the question is it a sign of humility, or it's a sign of pride? So he's praying, and the big question is Eisav really out to get him or not? We don't know, do we? Eisav heard he's coming to meet him. That we know.
So you're saying maybe the whole fear is only perceived?
We don't know. Now, he's definitely worried that he's going to die, right?
Right, he is.
Now, there's two ways to understand the story. Lavan may be out to kill him. At the last minute, God saves him because he prayed. Or Eisav got over this years ago.
Right.
His brother's come back. Wants to say to his brother. He's Mr. Nice Guy. And Yaakov was just, is the word paranoia maybe? About what's going on? I want to use those words about our ancestors.
Right.
And we'll never know. Because when they finally meet, remember? It says Vaychabek.
Yeah.
Vaychabek, it's like the hug. And beforehand, he has this meeting with that angel. It says Vayavek, which means to struggle. And the word Vayavek and Vaychabek are very similar.
Right.
There's tons of beautiful wordplay. Is Yaakov just struggling with himself, and Eisav is Mr. Nice Guy, meets him, wants to say hi, or is Eisav just about to kill him, really wants to kill him, and at the last minute they make a peace. He gets over it because God protected Yaakov, and we'll never know, will we?
Right.
But it's such a paradigm, or like foreshadowing what Jewish history will be like. Are all nations out to get us all the time? Is everyone an anti-Semite? Everyone wants to kill you? or they really appreciate and like you, and they're really being nice, and you think they're out to get you. I'm not taking sides on the issue, but it's really confusing. And you have that in personal lives as well. People think other people out to get them, so you turn to God and to help you. It's always healthy to feel I'm not deserving of something. Our approach to God isn't, oh, you made me a promise, pay up. That's again, that's our consumer model. We don't turn to God, you promised this, give us. It says we turn to God and say, we have a goal, we want to fulfill our goal. We might not be deserving of your help, but help us for the sake of your name, for the sake of your reputation. All through prayer, it's all tachnun. Is that we're worthless, basically. We don't deserve anything from you, but help us anyhow, because we really want to serve you. Right. I think this Yaakov story is the uncertainty in the story, the ambiguity in the story, is such a beautiful model for what real life is about. Again, Chumash isn't a fairy tale.
Right.
Because life's not a fairy tale.
So it's a model for life. Who knows, maybe his fear is perceived. It's also good foreshadowing for Jewish history.
But we learned here how to daven. The classic thing, you have to daven.
Yeah.
You have to prepare for war. And you have to pray. And you have to pray and you have to, what do you call it? You have to fight sometimes.
You're right. Okay. All right. So Yaakov's insecurity appears more prominently in his actual meeting with Eisav. When it comes up to him actually meeting Eisav, he bows down a lot. He sends his servants ahead of him, bowing down a lot. He calls himself he's Esav's servant a lot. He even says, "Kachet birchati," take my blessing from me.
He's referring to the present he sent.
The present he sent.
But he's alluding now, in the present, remember the blessings that they were fighting over?
Yeah.
That Yitzchak gave? The first blessing was, you'll be prosperous.
Yeah.
The second blessing was, you'll be
the leader. You'll be the master. And the other ones will be
but
servant.
Also, right.
They'll bow down to you.
Yeah.
So it sounds like he's saying to Eisav,
hey, you got it.
if you're upset with me for stealing your bracha, here, take the bracha back.
No, not take it back. He's showing him you have it.
You have it, exactly.
You got it, because my children are bowing down to you.
Right. So...
And you're wealthy. You're wealthier than I am.
I know Rav Ya'akov Meidan, who's Rosh Yeshiva here and big Tanakh scholar also, is very critical of Yaakov's sort of overly timid behavior. It's almost like there's a disagreement between Yaakov and Mordechai. Mordechai says Jews don't bow. Yaakov says Mordechai doesn't bow to Haman, and here is Yaakov bowing, and then Rav Meidan picks up a midrash criticizing Yaakov and saying all sorts of terrible things happened as a result of Yaakov bowing down. Do you see...
The Rashbam does a similar thing with Abraham making the treaty with Abimelech.
Okay.
And that's why he has the Akedah thing. Now, I'm not a big fan of that approach, but not from either way. Different political opinions about how passive we need to be as a Jewish people, how active we have to be, how proud you have. There's a need to be proud that you're Jewish, a need to fight for your rights. And there's to be, I think King Solomon said in Kohelet, there's eight Milchama, Beit Shalom, time for war and time for peace, time to lay back, time to take action. It depends on the situation. But that doesn't mean in every situation we got to put our foot down. We're not bound down to anybody. I see in Yaakov's life, there's different situations, and that's what we daven for. We don't daven to God that we win our war. We daven to God that we're worthy of winning a war, or ask us how to behave so we're not put in the situation of a war. And sometimes we're torn. We don't know what we need to do. I don't think it's very healthy. I'm not disagreeing with the Rosh Yeshiva. I understand where that's coming from, but the question, you can apply that to almost anything. Anyone right wing can find a proof from the Bible that you have to be right wing. Anyone left wing can prove from the Bible you have to be left wing. And there's 12 tribes, and there's different approaches and different views, and no one has a monopoly on. There's legitimate political opinions, and they're fine, and what to do in any political situation. But you can't decide to make political decisions based on a story in the Bible. I don't think you can read the story of Ya'akov and Eisav and say, I learned from here. I can't, give in to any conditions on a peace treaty or something like that, and be proud of who you are.
Wow.
Because
Because you could go the other way just as easily.
You could bring down a temple or two.
Wow.
No, you have to be deserving of God's help. Now, again, there's times to bow down, times not to. There's need to be proud that you're Jewish. But to be sure that God will protect you even not deserving of it. But you can pray to God that we be deserving of his help, or even if we're not deserving, help us anyhow. And you pray to God we make the right decision when it's a toss-up.
Interesting.
But
So hold on. So it seems like this blessing is, as you say, Ya'akov is giving the blessing back to Eisav or showing Eisav that he already has the blessing.
for this generation, which is true. In their lifetime, what's Eisav say? I'm going to die anyhow.
So he doesn't care about
he cares about today.
Generation.
He's about his generation. He's doing great. And in his generation, Eisav wins, hands down. Yaakov has a terribly difficult life, and Esav's doing great.
Right.
And he respects his father. He comes back for the funeral. He's he's not a bad guy. He's just a normal person. And in their lifetime, from Esav's point of view, he got the blessing, and he's over it. Because what's he say afterwards? He didn't say, I was about to kill you, and I'm sorry now. He says, I'll give you an honor guard. Come with me. Come visit.
Right.
And Yaakov has to sort of tell a half-truth at the end. I don't need your help, and I'll catch up with you later on.
How do you read that whole thing? I mean, do you see? It seems to me that whole aftermath of their meeting, where Eisav says, "Oh, come with me," and Yaakov's like, "Oh, you're going too fast for us. We'll go slow. You go on. You go on ahead. We'll follow on." They never do.
Yeah.
Like, do you see that as Eisav being genuinely friendly and Yaakov being genuinely, we can't keep up? Or I mean, it seems to me pretty clear that Ya'akov is still very wary of Eisav. I
see that Torah is being genuinely ambiguous.
Interesting. Okay.
You can read it either way. Esav's Mr. Nice Guy, and Yaakov's just for no reason, or the other way around. Yaakov is wise, and he knows the guy's evil, and stay away from him. And there's times in Jewish history for both.
Interesting.
But listen, you can't miss the goal that we need to be a light to other nations. And we need to respect other nations. They need to respect us but there are many times in history when you can't trust them, and for good reasons, and you have to fight them and protect yourself. There's times for survival mode, times for revival mode. So, but we need to know that to be in survival mode, to be in revival mode, we need to be worthy of being in revival mode. Because for God's help, we have to be worthy of it. But we can't lose sight. The goal is not always to be, on protecting yourself. The goal is to be a light to other nations. We're not always able to be that light to other nations. So sometimes you have to just close in on yourself and focus on yourself. That happens later in the Parasha, where they want to kill us. And what saves us? Yaakov was hoping to come back to Beit El and build a house for God.
Right.
To make a name for God. What happened instead? What's the irony? He ends up in Beit El. Why? As a city of refuge.
Right.
Because of his kids' behavior.
Wow.
Yaakov was hoping that Beit El would be a place like Avram did make a name for God. Yeah. Instead, everyone wants to kill him because of his bad behavior.
So hold on.
And he has to go to Beit El for protection.
Why doesn't Yaakov go to Beit El straight after this Eisav scene? Why does he go off to Shechem and then have that awful scene with Dinah getting...
I'll ask the question even better. Why doesn't he go home first and say hi to his mommy and daddy?
Yeah.
We only find out about that at the end of the Parasha, right?
Yeah, good question.
I think, the way I understand it, the stories are out of order. Because I'm assuming that when Yaakov came back, the first thing he did, he followed in Avram's footsteps. When he come back, what did Avram do when he first came? He went to Shechem, Beit El, Hebron, right? And then Beersheba. That's the mountain, that's Highway 60. And Yaakov should come back, stop in Shechem, because that's the first place you stop when you reach the mountain range. Coming from the Gilad. And then he should go to Beit El and maybe remind himself. He's not ready to build a house for God right away. He's got to establish himself in the land. It'll take a while. But he can remind himself of the neder, and he should go visit his father.
Where are they? They're in Hebron?
They're in Hebron, yeah. I'm sure he must have done that. I can't believe he would wait another couple of years until he sees his father. He says he told Lavan, I want to go back and see my family, but to go back to my father, to my mother, to my family at home.
Right.
Now, what happened?
Do you see any proof of that? That he actually goes home?
I'll bring a logical proof to it. Okay. Because when he comes back, he stops in Shechem and he buys real estate because he's Jewish.
Okay.
Hope that was okay.
Yeah.
In other words, you come to a new place, you have a family, right away you buy real estate. He buys a piece of field for future use.
Yeah.
And now, then I think that's the end of Perek Lamed Gimel.
Right. So, Lamed Gimel 33, Vayavo Ya'akov, verse 18.
Vayavokov Shalem.
He comes.
Remember, V'shati b'shalom beit avi. It's Shalem.
Yeah.
He come like Shalom b'mamonot, like Rashi says. He came back in one piece because he passed Eisav. He passed all the tests. He has wealth. He can buy land. He's ready to fulfill his nether. V'shati b'shalom beit avi. Vayavokov Shalem. He comes to Shalem and he goes outside Shechem and he buys the field.
So,
and he thanks God. Avram built a mizbeach when he came to Shechem. Yaakov builds a mizbeach when he comes to Shechem.
Hold on. So, Vayiken et chelkat hasadeh asher nata sham aholo miyad b'nei chamar b'Shechem b'mei ksita. So, the parcel of land we had pitched his tent, he purchased from the children of Chamor, Shem's father, for 100 ksita. He set up an altar there and called
out. Basically, thanks God, I've returned.
Right. So, and that's right next to Shechem.
So it's in Shechem. Now, then there's a story about Dinah.
Yeah.
That's Perek Lamed Daled and continues till the beginning, the first 8 psukim of Perek Lamed Hey, when he runs away.
Yeah.
I want to put that story on hold. Why? Because in that story, do the math real fast. Yaakov is by loving for 20 years.
Yeah.
He doesn't get a wife until 7 years later.
Right.
So, how old is Reuven when they return?
Oldest would be 13.
Well, 13 at most, maybe bar mitzvah age. That's it. And every child is a year younger.
Yeah.
So now, how old? Dinah is maybe 3 years old at most, because that's child number 7.
Right.
Now, for the whole story, and Shimon and Levi are 10 or 11.
Yeah.
To take the story of Shimon and Levi and Dinah, as Dinah's a 3-year-old, and Shimon and Levi are 10 and 11-year-olds, not it?
Yeah.
And Reuben's a bar mitzvah kid. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit.
Right.
There's no logic to it.
I see.
And and also it doesn't make sense that that Yaakov doesn't go straight home. What I think happened, he comes straight home, he stops in Shechem, buys land, then he goes to Beit El and restates his neder, and he gets the official blessing from God. That's going to be in chapter 35. And look at the wording. In chapter 35, verse 9, I think that happens right after chapter 33. It says, God, back when he came back from Padan Aram and blessed him.
Hold on, 35:9
should follow the end of chapter 33.
Vayar Elohim el Yaakov od bevo Padan Aram. God appeared to Jacob on his arrival from Padan Aram again.
Not again, but when God appeared to him from when he'd come back from Padan Aram and blessed him. What blessing does he get? He gets the name change, which just happened right before. Remember the name when he fed the malach was right beforehand. So it makes sense that this name change becomes official in Beit El. And God tells him, Ani El Shaddai, remember, that God's fulfilling the blessing that Yitzchak blessed him when he left. Remember, El Shaddai Berkat Avram?
Right.
And that's what happens. So El Shaddai appears to him and says, I'm El Shaddai. He changes Yaakov's name to Yisrael. And he says, Pray Orvei, Ukal Goy Miyamimeka, Malachim Mechatzecha Yitzeu. That's the same blessing from Avram from Brit Milah, back in chapter 17. And the land that I promised Avram Avinu, that's Birkat Avram, you're getting and your children afterwards. And then Elohim leaves, and that's it. Yaakov puts up Matzeva. And now, he can't build the temple right away, he just got back. But he's going to restate his neder. So he calls the place, he names the place Beit El. He named it before, means he's stating his resolution, I want to build a house for God here. He puts oil again on the Matzeva, makes it official. And he continues traveling on his way down south, back to Hebron. On his way to Hebron, before he even got to Beit Lechem, what happened? Rachel died. Rachel's buried. And then we have this strange story of what do you call it, with Reuven. We don't have time for that today. Maybe we'll do that next week. And then we're told, Vayibech of Shnei Masar. And the end of chapter 35 are summary psukim. And we're only told at the last line of the Parasha that what happened? In Pasuk Chav Zayin, verse 20, Vayavo Yaakov el Yitzchak aviv mamrei Kiryat Arba. Hi Hebron asher gar sham Avram v'Yitzchak. Vayum Yitzchak ma'at shana. Then Yitzchak dies. It can't be he returned and then Yitzchak died the next day. But these are summary psukim that Yaakov had returned to Yitzchak way back. He came back.
Right.
And then we finish up the story of Yitzchak, and Yitzchak dies. Eisav and Yaakov both bury him together.
Okay.
Eisav is mentioned first.
You've done a fair job of convincing me that this is out of order, but then
why is it out of order?
Yeah.
That's the fun part.
Okay.
It's got to be out of order. The big question is going to be, in my opinion, why doesn't Yaakov build a house for God?
Yeah.
He doesn't fulfill his neder, does he?
He doesn't seem to ever build a house for God.
For God. He wishes he could. Now, why can't he? It goes back to what we explained. When can you build a house for God? When people respect you, when they look up to you.
When you can influence them,
Yeah.
when the people would come to the house.
Yeah. So Yaakov has some children.
So it's kind of like why David didn't build a house for
The same
God?
thing. God tells David, you can't because you're a man of war.
Right.
Sometimes you have to fight wars. So, but you have a son, let him be a man of peace. Remember, call him Shlomo to remember that.
Right.
And he can build a house for God if there's shalom, if there's peace during his time. You can't make your name for God if you're not in a position that you can sanctify God.
Right.
If people don't respect you, don't look up to you, you can't talk about God because it's counterproductive. You have to earn people's respect, then you can talk about God.
Do you think that people should hold off on building the Beit HaMikdash today because of that? If there isn't
It's not my job to decide that, but I think I see the mosque is not the reason there's no temple. It's a sign we're not ready for a temple. The mosque there isn't the reason there's no temple. Imagine what happened if we had a temple. We'd be fighting like crazy over who gets to run it. Just follow the news. It's a sign. It's our reminder. We're not ready for that yet. We're not in a position for that. So Yaakov wishes he could. As soon as he gets back, it's too early. He got to establish himself. Soon, a year or two after he comes back, the brothers are watching the sheep. I say maybe 4 or 5 years later, they go to Shechem to watch the sheep. And then the terrible story of Dinah happens.
Right.
Now, after that, Yaakov can't build the house for God. He's delayed things before, right? He wants to do it. It'll take time. After the story of Dinah, everyone wants to kill him.
Right.
Now, Shimon and Levi were the opinion is we can't bow down to anybody. You follow?
Yeah.
We're new in town. We have to prove ourselves. We're Bnei Yaakov. No one messes with Bnei Yaakov.
Do you see that as a direct response to Yaakov's behavior when he met Eisav? Like Yaakov bowed down a lot.
It's a similar approach. Now, there's did Shimon and Levi do the right thing or the wrong thing? Of course, if you're a right-wing commentator, you'll say they were the heroes. And if you're left-wing, you'll say what they did was terrible. And who gets the last word in?
Yaakov.
So, no, in Perek Lamed Daled, Shimon and Levi get the last word in. They said, we're going to treat our sister like a harlot. But Yaakov gets the last word in the end of Vayichi.
Yeah.
So that's a big question. There are times when you need Shimon and Levi, and there are times you can't be Shimon and Levi. You follow? It depends on the situation. Now, you need to rescue your sister. She's in danger.
Yeah.
Does that give you the right to kill the whole city, all the women and children of the city, and wipe everybody out and take all the spoils? To teach them a lesson? Oh, Shaul tried it on Nover Kohanim. God wasn't so happy with that.
Right.
So there's a moral question behind it. And now, Yaakov is very passive in the story. Remember, he's 100 years older than his kids. His kids are now teenagers. Wow. If I take the story 3-4 years later, Dinah's already at 9 or 10 already, 11 maybe. Shimon and Levi are college kids, 11. Now, remember, Yosef isn't 17 yet. But somewhere between Yosef, when they come back, Yosef, I guess, is 6. So it has to happen within the first 10 years because once Yosef's sold, it's a whole different ballgame.
I see.
So the Shechem story happened. Now, why is it mentioned there? For 2 reasons. We just mentioned Shechem. We bought land in Shechem. So we finished the story of Shechem. And also, I think it's a background to explain why Yaakov can't fulfill his neder.
Right.
Because once Shimon and Levi did what they did, unfortunately and ironically, Beit El becomes a city of refuge where Yaakov has to run away to instead of a city where we make a name for God. It's unfortunate, but that happens in Jewish history. But the fact you can't do it doesn't mean you don't keep your goal in mind that one day you're going to get back to it. The fact I can't fulfill a goal today doesn't mean I can't keep it in mind for a future time.
Interesting. So you don't hold Yaakov responsible or being punished in some way for being tardy in fulfilling his neder, and that's why
it could be he was a little tardy. Maybe should have done a little bit earlier, and then things. When you don't take action, someone else takes action. Like later in Sefer Shoftim, Gidon could have been leader. He says, "I don't want to be leader." And then his kids take over, and they make him. Remember, Abimelech kills everyone else, makes himself king.
Right.
When the right person doesn't do the right thing, maybe for a good reason, when you're passive, someone else would take leadership. And they're young, they're teenagers, and they're a little hot-headed.
Wow. Interesting.
Yaakov says, take that anger and channel it to something good. That's Yaakov's final blessing. So Shimon, what's really beautiful or sad, later in Chumash, someone from Shevet Levi, I think his name is Pinchas, stabs someone from Shevet Shimon. Remember? Pinchas uses power and anger to kill someone from Shimon for doing a terrible sin. In the story with the Moav.
So in a way,
Midian.
Levi and Shimon both have that violent streak, or that streak that is violating the rules. But Pinchas uses it.
But sometimes you need Pinchas. But the rabbis say it's halacha, but you don't teach people that. It's got to come naturally.
Wow.
But those are, I think, I love the Torah's ambiguity, and there's room for different explanations. But I can't prove from the story that the right wing approach is right or left wing approach is right. There's time for one, time for the other. That's Kohelet basically. There's time for war, time for peace, a time to, it's called Shira Yitim. But to make those decisions, you need to see the wider picture. The goal isn't being king of the hill.
I see.
The goal is being a nation representing God. But you have to be a nation. You have to have sovereignty. You have to have an army. You have to fight your battles. You have to stand up for your rights, etc.
Yeah.
So there's a need to be active and establish yourself. There's a need to be moral and just at the same time. And they're so deep because that's exactly the issues facing the Jewish people today. How do you navigate that? That's not so simple. Right. So I think when you study Bereshit, you see that navigation is not going to be easy, but how to balance your values and what values override others. I think we can learn that a lot from Sefer Bereshit, and Nevi'im definitely do that.
Right.
When we lose our sovereignty because our society is immoral and unjust.
Right. So what we can learn from Sefer Bereshit is about the moral messages, but not the political messages. You can't
prove from here I have to be right wing or left wing, and you can't prove from here, but you prove from here that life is difficult and there's challenges, but don't lose sight of the bigger theme of the purpose of your chosenness. And you need to be a blessing to other nations. That's something you demand, that's something you have to earn. How to live a life that other nations respect you and look up to you depends on how you behave.
Right. So you have to be that light, like the oil that was put on the matzeva.
Yeah. And sometimes you can't light it because sometimes you have to light it indoors.
Right.
Sometimes you can light it outside your house so people can see. Sometimes you have to do it inside because it's dangerous.
Right. So that's like the Hanukkah,
exactly.
Hanukkah message. We've got Hanukkah coming up. So.
And that's why some poskim say just do it in your house, in your home, and it's our reminder of our connection to God and a future hope that we can't fulfill now. So we show everybody you're God's people.
Wow. So that kind of Ya'akov pouring that oil on top of that matzeva on the early days in Beit El, in the second time when he's still got all the problems of his neighbors because of the Shrem story. That's like the lighting the candles
the first,
indoors.
the first Hanukkah candle, kind of. With the theme of oil. Oil is always a sign of hope and consecration and dedicating your life to God.
Wow. So do we see any points in Yaakov's life where he can light the candle? I mean...
Oh, it's so sad, Yaakov's life, because what happens? So he doesn't build it right away, and then Shimon and Levi happen, and we're stuck with Shem. He has to run away.
Yeah.
A couple years later, they sell Yosef.
Yeah.
And that's it. He goes to see Yosef down in Egypt, and God says, that time, stay there.
Yeah.
You're stuck there. And Yaakov, unfortunately, it's so sad he can never fulfill his dream.
Of building that Beit Elohim.
Yeah. Now, what Jewish leader finally is going to actually do it?
Shlomo?
Well, Shlomo actually built it, but who gets it all planned and starts it?
David.
And what's David say? We say this every day morning in davening. When David gets before he dies, in chapter 29 in Divrei Yamim, at the end of Divrei in 1 Chronicles, David gets everything ready to build the temple. He can't build it because he's a man. He's living in a time of war. God tells him, if your son will be a man of peace, he can build it.
Yeah.
But he gets everything ready. He gets all the building plans ready, all the materials ready, and he gives basically Shlomo a Lego set to build the temple as soon as he dies. And he charges him in public in chapter 28 and 29. Says him, I wanted to build a house for God, for God's name, for his reputation, but I couldn't because of my life. But you can. And then, what's he say afterwards? He says, I'm presenting you with everything. And then David says something very interesting. We say it for a good reason every morning in Pesukei Zimra. And it says as follows. And chapter 29 in 1 Chronicles in verse 10, I think, yeah. Chapter 29, Divrei Aleph, verse 10. It says, Vayvarech David et Hashem. We know it from davening one more time. There we go. Vayvarech David et Hashem leinei kol hakahal. Vayomer David, Baruch ata Hashem, Elohei Yisrael Avinu me'olam v'ad olam. Now, a little factoid. The only time in Tanakh where you have Baruch ata Hashem, followed by a description of God. We have Baruch ata Hashem lamdeni chukecha in Tehillim, in Kuf Yotet, but the way we daven with as introducing God, ata Hashem Elokei Yisrael, Baruch ata Hashem Elokei Yisrael Avinu, is here. That's the only time we have it, and we use that for davening. Now, what should God's name be? God's name should be what? He's only the God of Yisrael. He's the God of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, isn't he?
Yeah, true.
Okay. Why is David saying, Vayvarech Hashem leinei kol hakahal, David Baruch ata Hashem Elokei Yisrael Avinu me'olam v'ad olam? Who gets the credit? L'cha Hashem hagdula v'hagvura v'tiferet v'chulei. L'cha Hashem hamamlacha hosher v'chad mefanecha. Yaakov is fulfilling, in my opinion. David is fulfilling Yaakov's neder. After Yaakov is Ya'akov and Eisav. Yaakov writes Sefer Tehillim. He has the voice of Yaakov, and he puts on the hands of Eisav. He's a man of war.
Right. So David is the expression of Yaakov
and the name of Eisav, and he fulfills Yaakov's neder because he becomes the real Yisrael. He's David Melech Yisrael, and he's able to build a house for God. He wants to. He gets it ready, but only his son can do it. But he has to pass down to his son to do it. But he's thanking God. Who gets the credit for all my wealth? God gets the credit. I'm an employee. And if God blessed me with sovereignty and strength and power, who gets the credit for this house? It's not the house that King David built, the house that God built. I'm only a vehicle to get it accomplished. And that's the humility of King David.
That's what he says in verse 12. Then he
says, who am I? Who am I? Because Mimcha Kol in verse 15.
Yeah.
Everything's from you, verse 14. And we're simply giving you back what's yours in the first place. Say ger v'toshav again. We're that's like goes back to what Abram said last week.
I see.
In Chayesara, or 2 weeks ago. I could tell you a Menachem. That's the humility of King David, a great man of war, a great leader, a great man, attributes everything to God. When he does something wrong, he takes responsibility. He does tshuva. He can learn from his mistakes. But he understands what it means to be the king of Israel. And remember his ethical will we talked about last week, that Shlomo should be his son doing mishpat and tzedakah. So in a very interesting way, Yaakov's neder from this week's Parasha is fulfilled by, its fulfillment begins under King David.
There's another prophet, another promise that takes generations.
Takes a long time to come true. Maybe it could happen earlier, but
wow. Well, I suppose Hashem's got a couple of promises that took a few generations to come true.
Yeah,
Yaakov's got one too.
They can come earlier or later. God creates opportunities till we live up to them.
I see.
That's what all the Nevi'im tell us. So it goes always a two-way street.
So we've got to seize the opportunities when they come.
And seize them properly.
Right.
And realize what we do have is from God. Give God the credit for what goes right, and we take responsibility for what goes wrong. Usually we do the opposite. We take credit for the good things that happen and blame God for the bad things that happen. And it should be the other way around. Nice.
Alrighty. Beautiful. Shkoach. So let's all remember to give God the credit for the good that happens, take responsibility when we make mistakes, and please God, we'll get that Beit Elokim.
We need to be deserving of it. In the meantime, we have our shul. We can do something in the micro.
Nice. We need to work on not just getting the Beit HaMikdash, but being deserving of the Beit HaMikdash.
There's a mizmor in Tzadik Gimel Tehillim. Edotecha namnu leveitcha navakodesh. Edotecha, your laws are going to be the support of your house. What will build God's house? What will build God's house are keeping God's mitzvot properly. Will be the cornerstones, the support beams that will build God's house up.
Beautiful, beautiful.
We say it on Friday morning.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Rav Leibtag. Wow, this has been really special. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. I'm Rav Mordechai Rosenberg, here with Rav Menachem Leibtag. Shabbat Shalom. Like and subscribe, share with your friends, and send us your questions. Shabbat Shalom.